It's nearly 70% from three for Indiana last night. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, how do you shoot 70%?
Yogi Ferrell was 7 of 8
That's
alone.
like scoring 10 goals in a hockey game, isn't it?
I've seen that happen too.
70% from three.
And we're not talking about an all-star game where we saw 10 goals scored in a hockey game.
No, that happened for Michigan. Last week, they won 10-6 at Ohio State, and that's on the ice, not on the football field, on the ice. And joining us to talk about that, Michigan assistant hockey coach Brian Wiseman. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. So, Coach, I come at this from the standpoint of a win is a win. But I know you coaches, after you get all over the fact that, hey, yeah, we won. Now you come back and you say, but we gave up 6 goals. Am I about hitting it on the head for you guys?
Yeah, it's good for our players to be able to put the puck in it, without a doubt. But you're right, giving up 6 goals and that formula is not going to work coming down the stretch too often. And we talked about it as a team on Saturday when we got back to Ann Arbor. We really have to shore up defensively in our defensive zone, our goals against. But really more importantly is how we respond to either success or failures is what we're talking about, how growing with the team. So, after the first period it's 4-1, 5-1 quickly when Andrew Cobb scores in the second period. We want to end the game there, put it out of doubt. But we let them back in and inch and incline away. So we have to continue to grow our game in that manner. So hopefully we can take that from last weekend into this weekend.
All right, so, Coach, you mentioned that first period. Great start in that 4-goal first period, and great start by Zach Hyman in that contest.
He definitely came out. I think his first shift he got a goal. The second shift he came out. He's been playing tremendous, as you know, and everyone that's been following our team this year closely. It's good to see for him a senior, a leader on our team who came into Michigan with a lot of, confidence coming from junior hockey, and we just didn't see it, and it didn't just, for whatever reason, didn't materialize his first year and a half. But he stayed with it. He stayed the course. He persisted, and it's good for him that what's going on with his game as it pertains to our whole game. And he's a tremendous kid, and I'm extremely happy for him.
And certainly, Coach, Dylan Larkin in that contest, and we talked about him before. What a tremendous freshman, but definitely, and tell me what the difference is. Seems to be playing at a different level since coming back from juniors. The first 5-point game for a freshman in almost 20 years for you guys. So what about his performance, and what do you see different in him since coming back from juniors?
Yeah, like you said, it was an impressive performance. 2 goals and 3 assists for a young guy going on the road. One of our early road tests here in the Big Ten. So tremendous response for him, and obviously his line is clicking. I think Dylan, we've always seen those things in Dylan, even when we recruited him early out of midget hockey, and watching him in the National Development Team program here in Ann Arbor. And even early in our season, you see things, and you see it in practice. It's all coming together, and as we talk about confidence, his confidence is an all-time high, and that's good. And he goes out, but he has fun doing it. He pays the price to do it, and good things are happening for him. So it was great. He's a great kid to coach. He's a great freshman on this team, and as you mentioned, with his production going so far, maybe the ones we look back at really as one of the all-time great freshman years here at Michigan.
All right, so Coach, and let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. Those were the positives. Now you talked about defense. Now during the game, you changed goaltenders. You took Steve out, put Nagelvoort in. How much of what took place was defense? How much of it was on the guy in net, and then what can we expect for in net moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a bunch of things. I think we talk about how our team has to mature and continue to grow as we make our way through the season. And when we get to that 4-1, that 5-1, that 6-2, whatever the score may be, what it was last week, we still have to remain focused, and we have to continue on the mission that we were set forth at the beginning of the game when it was 0-0. I think we lost focus, and not just our goalie, but our defense, our team as a whole. So we have to really, no matter what the score, we talked about being resilient. We talked about never being satisfied, and that's kind of the message going forward for our team.
Is that, Coach? Is that any team that gets up big? I mean, that seems like any sport, any team. You get a big lead, it's a lot of times complacency kind of sets in.
Without question, and we're not. sitting here on top of our, we weren't last week on top of our kids and getting on them for that. That's probably just human nature a little bit. But, if we want to get to where we want to get to, and that's competing for a Big Ten championship and an NCAA championship and in the tournament, those are the moments we have to learn from. And this group is a mature group. This group is a very coachable group. So that's a great coaching and teaching moment, I think, for our staff and our team as we move forward.
So, Coach, do you go with Zach now in that? Is that kind of how you're going to roll with it?
Well, we're going to go with Steve's team tonight,
okay.
In on Wisconsin, and we'll see how it plays out. We're confident with both goalies, but tonight Steve will get the net.
All right. So, I heard that you guys have been practicing over at the Cube. Is that right? And how much does that really help you guys in your preparation?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a mindset, a comfortability on some wider ice. So we were Tuesday, Wednesday over at the Cube. They have an Olympic sheet over here. We're playing on a wider ice, not necessarily Olympic standards here at Wisconsin. Instead of 100 feet wide, which is Olympic, I believe we're playing at 97 tonight feet wide, where ours in Ann Arbor at Yost is 85. So you talk about the differences. There's some subtleties that as far as, especially on special teams, especially with spacing. But our message to our kids is we still have to defend in between the face-off dots in our zone and be hard to play against in that area. And if we want to score goals, we got to get in between these face-off dots in the offensive zone. That's where goals scored, and that's where goals are prevented. So we can't play on the perimeter no matter how big the ice is.
All right, now, Coach, I know from a coaching perspective, you guys kind of tell your kids to ignore the record. As fans, it's hard not to notice, Wisconsin not being what Wisconsin is typically. So first, can you kind of give us an idea what happened? How did things kind of shift so dramatically for them this year? And then, take us into the locker room as you're talking to your players, kind of tell us what Wisconsin brings to the table this year.
Right. Well, they're an extremely young team. They lost 12 or 13 of their top scorers from last year, whether it's through seniors or guys leaving early to sign pros. So tough to rebound from that right away. Now, we've seen in recent weeks them, just from watching film and seeing, box scores and stat lines in games that their game's evolving. They're maturing as a team. They're getting better as a team. That their record does not indicate where they are right now. They got off to a rough start without question. We acknowledged that to our team last night in our team meeting. But they went into Minnesota last week and won in a shootout at Minnesota on the road. We know how good Minnesota is. They had Boston University, one of the top teams in the country here, since probably the third, fourth week in the season, beat them here at home. They had Michigan Tech here at home and split with Michigan Tech. 3 darn good hockey teams since January, the first week in January that they had here at in Madison, and we're in the games, and then we're able to win the games. And so that was our message to our team, that we're coming in here and we have some expectations of what we're trying to do and what we want to accomplish. At the same time, this other team is their record is not indicative of who they are as a team or where they are now as a team.
Well, folks, you can catch Michigan on television, Big Ten Network, as they go out and they take on the Badgers. The first game will take place tonight, 8 p.m. Central at Wisconsin, and tomorrow 7 p.m. Central, as the Wolverines look to keep this momentum rolling. In case you weren't following, 9 of the last 10 games the Michigan hockey team has won. Well, Coach, thanks a lot for spending some time with us this morning, and good luck against Wisconsin.
Always enjoy it, guys. Have a great day, great weekend, and go Blue.
All right.